Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the final book review. And I'm just going to go straight into it and pose the question because I think this alone is a discussion point. Could or should this be two movies? And I'm going to say that initially I defended this being two movies at first because I think at the time that they made these, Harry Potter was the most successful movie franchise ever. And I don't know if it's the most successful book franchise. It must be one of them.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, yeah, definitely.
and I think when you're wrapping up seven films of a franchise that big, I personally see nothing wrong because it wasn't done at the time. Now every other motherfucker is doing a movie in two parts, but
Yeah.
at the time it wasn't really done. So I personally, on the surface level, see no problem cutting one book into two films. That being said, when I watched them, the second one works, which you guys will see in the review. The second one works. The first one, there's a whole lot of nothing. And I think the reason it doesn't work is more so because of the previous six films. So, for example, when you spend a good chunk of part seven on Bill Weasley's wedding, so I watched these films. I watched these films with my fiance, who
Sorry, sorry,
I
I shouldn't
watched.
find it that funny.
I watched these films with my fiance, who's never read the books. And we're watching it, and then Bill Court comes in and goes, "You're right, I'm Bill Weasley." And my partner just goes, "Who the fuck is Bill Weasley?" And I was like, "What do you mean? It's Bill Weasley." And so when you've got none of the build up for the previous six, it kind of doesn't work. But if it was handled right and it was a bit more interesting and exciting, I think it could have been a good two-parter. But what do you guys think?
It depends on what you wanted out of the movie. I think if it was a case of if you wanted it to be exactly like the book or like a closer adaptation of the whole book, then sure, making a two-parter makes sense. Begs the question as to why they didn't do it for the previous six, but I mean
Especially
more
part five.
more specifically books four, five, and six, I think probably would have benefited if you were interested in adapting the whole book. If it's from the lens of let's make the best possible film, that I would say it could have been one film. It probably would have been a long film, but it's like at this point, the Lord of the Rings movies were all 3 hours long and were all ridiculously successful. So
If you were to, I know none of us are real filmmakers, but if you were to adapt Deathly Hallows into a film accurately, how long would you say the runtime should be?
Probably about 5 hours.
I mean, but when I say accurately, I mean and be entertaining. Like you don't need a half-hour section of everyone cleaning Sirius Black's house. You don't
oh.
need stuff that J.K. Rowling writes. I mean, I mean to make.
In that case, maybe 4 hours.
I was gonna say I mean I've not read the book, but 3.5, 4 hours I'd say. What about
Yeah,
you,
I
Dave?
mean, because I'm thinking of like, because obviously I know we're talking about the book, but in this discussion of should it be a two-parter, I'm thinking about the movies where the middle portion of part one is just a lot of nothing. And I think it's more frustrating because I think, as a lot of people now know, Deathly Hallows, both films have a lot of deleted scenes. And
That oh
it's like
yes.
it's like scenes where you remove scenes with the Dursleys, you removed scenes where that opens up a plot hole later regarding Luna, which I think maybe we'll come back to later, where these are like plot integral scenes that are on the
Yeah.
cutting room floor. But we have a scene of Hermione teaching Ron to play the piano, a scene of Hermione wandering around in the woods for 5 minutes, a scene of Harry and Hermione dancing like pensioners at a
Yeah.
wedding. It's like, okay, it's
Yeah.
like if you want to include those scenes, fine. But But if I had to pick between the scenes with the Dursleys that were deleted and
Which are
Hermione wandering around the woods, I'd take the scene with the Dursleys.
and the Dursley scenes are some of the best scenes in the whole franchise.
Yes,
Like
they are.
Dudley reconciling with Harry. Petunia actually resembles a human, but like she doesn't really have a personality in the film. She's just evil bitch. In this one, you're like, holy shit, she's a person.
Yeah,
and then
like,
Vernon's like, nah, fuck you.
Yeah, no,
Vernon's an asshole.
like Petunia's line in the movie is one of my favorite lines of the film franchise. You didn't just lose a mother that night in Godric's Hollow, I lost a sister. That's not in the book. It's not in the book. She just
Let's get an extended cut.
She says bye and then leaves.
Yeah, which is you'd think. I don't know why they didn't do an extended cut, because it's like they had more than enough footage to do so. So it's weird that they chose not to. So I mean, guess to answer your question, like if you wanted to cover the whole book, then yes, doing a two-parter makes sense. If you wanted, like, I don't believe for a second that was the reason why they did it. I think they just wanted to squeeze a bit more money out of the franchise for all it was worth. But
yeah, because they had no problem. Like book 5 was long as hell.
Yeah, it was like, if you were to stick with that philosophy and keep it consistent, you would have made books 4 through 6 two-parters as well. But in the interest of making the best possible movie, then you could have made it one film, I think. I don't know about Adalynn.
Yeah. No, I think it could have been one movie if they had just made it longer. If they had just made it longer and they also adapted it accurately and made it entertaining still. Yes. So with that out of the way, why don't we just jump into the book?
So obviously I've not read the book, so I'm going to just kind of ask questions and compare. But the movie opens with the multiple Harrys and the Polyjuice.
No, it doesn't.
Because the first scene is Snape with all the Death Eaters.
Voldemort with the Death Eaters.
Okay, well I want to talk about the Polyjuice scene. So if you want to talk about the Snape scene, start with that.
If you want to.
This is awkward, isn't it? Right, Polyjuice scene then. I
was going to say, because that scene with Voldemort it's really accurate in the movie, so there's not a lot to talk about.
Yeah,
but anyway.
there's like a little bit more where he's like goading the Malfoys a bit and making fun of them, but beyond that, it's more or less the same.
Like, ha ha ha, you're losers. Like, basically, anyways.
My question about the Polyjuice potion scene is the whole point is everyone becomes Harry. So the Death Eaters don't know which one's Harry. My question is, wouldn't it be easier to have everyone be someone who's not Harry? Why give 20 people a Polyjuice potion to become Harry when you can give Harry a Polyjuice potion to become Paris Hilton? Just make Harry change people. Why is everyone becoming Harry?
I don't fucking know.
If everyone's Harry, then Voldemort's still got a 1 in 20 chance of getting the right one.
Yeah, and that just puts them in even more danger.
Yeah,
but just for Adalynn, I want to say justice for Hedwig.
Yes. Yes. Her death in the book is so anticlimactic.
Because it's different. Because in the movie, at least Hedwig goes out swinging.
Yeah.
Trying to save Harry.
Yeah, because in the book, Hedwig dies because like a stray spell hits her in a cage and she just drops dead on the floor.
Yes. Whereas in the movie, she literally tries to save Harry. And in the movie, that's what gives Harry away to the Death Eaters. In the book, it's him using Expelliarmus.
And they're like, Harry uses that spell. That's Harry. Let's all check. Which already is a really kind of roundabout way of... Because like, he happened to use this one spell that's very commonly used by everyone. It's Harry.
Speaking of which, there's a scene in the movie where Lupin has to... Dave knows what I mean. Lupin has to identify which is the real Harry. So
I was literally about to get that part.
He references a scene that isn't in any of the movie.
He's like what creature sat in that office? I don't fucking know.
What creature sat in the corner of my office the first time Harry Potter visited me in Hogwarts? That is not a scene that's in
I don't know, Lupin. They deleted the scene. I don't know.
Because they could have just switched it to something that did happen in the movies, surely.
Yeah, like...
What was the first thing I said on the Hogwarts Express? Or like something like that. I don't know.
Eat, you'll feel better. Okay. No, or it could have been anything besides that. A scene that's not in the fucking movies whatsoever. But no, they included it for some reason because they went, let's be really accurate to the book.
So my memory of film 7 is a bit hazy. I've seen part 8 a million times, so my questions and stuff will probably be more towards that. But with part 1, how does it pan out with the whole Ron and Harry have beef? He thinks Harry's smashing Hermione. Is that pretty much the same, or?
No, not as much, really. I think in the book, it was more that the Horcrux was just affecting him and his mind wasn't straight. And he was basically delusional because it's literally said by Harry in the book after they destroy the Locket Horcrux that Hermione is like a sister to him, that she loves him, she loves him like a brother, and he loves her like a sister, and it's always been like that. And he thought that Ron knew that, and Ron was just delusional. Whereas in the fucking movie, here we have Steve, Hermione loving Clovis once again trying to put Harry and Hermione together.
Well, it's, Hermione's true feelings are for Draco, so
no. Again, stop trying to make Hermione happen. It's not
Well, since you brought it up, so Draco Malfoy.
We'll talk about him later. Let's cover this.
Malfoy, who does fuck all of this book.
I'll come back to Draco when we talk, because the third act I do have issues with in part 8.
Yeah, just going back to the Ron thing, there's a line in the movie that isn't in the book where I think it's where he says something along the lines of, "You think I don't know how this feels?" And then Ron just throws in his face that he's an orphan. He's just like, "Your parents are dead. You don't have a family."
Yeah, whereas in the book, like Harry says, "My parents are dead." Like he doesn't like it's different like that. But Steve Clovis just made Ron out to be a fucking dickhead. Yeah. And I'm like, no. He's not that in the books. Well, except for that one scene in Goblet of Fire where he's like, they want to be slaves, Hermione. Except for that scene. No, but no. I think in the books, Ron and Hermione are done so much better.
Yeah. Which is weird.
I do like... I was just going to say, I do like what they did with Harry and Hermione in part 7. Like, it's a very small scene.
You're delusional.
No, I think like when Hermione's feeling depressed and then they just dance together. It's a small scene, but I think that's a really sweet scene. I like what they did there because there's nothing romantic. He's just being a good friend.
Emma Watson would disagree with you because she kind of did say it was romantic in interviews. So, aha!
How is it romantic?
It looks like they are about to kiss when that dance is over.
And then they just kind of awkwardly hug.
No, they don't even hug. They just move away from one another.
Yeah,
you two carry on. I'm looking this up. Nah. This is... Okay, just give me a minute, guys. Sorry, this would all be cut out. We'll see you in...
This is all staying in. This is all staying in.
There's no way. There's no way.
Yes,
There's no way that I saw this.
Some people think they're always right.
Okay, there's a comment that says this scene was more romantic than all of the Harry and Ginny scenes. Right, so they're dancing. It's goofy. They're not even close. It's not a close, slow dance, right? They're dancing. I'm skipping ahead. I'm not having this. Okay, he's got his head on her shoulder. They're hugging. They're friends. You guys are weird.
End of the dance when they pull away.
Okay, they're pulling away. What? No one leans in. Nah, no one leans in. Man.
It's the look they share between each other. It looks like they might think about kissing.
I think it's a look where they're like, "Oh yeah, back to reality. We're miserable and depressed, and Ron hates us." I don't know.
It can be open. It can be interpreted both ways.
I was going to say open to interpretation. You guys are wrong, and I'm right. But
you're a fucking idiot. Anyway.
No. I thought that scene was sweet. Is there anything else you want to discuss that are covered in part 1 of the movie?
There's a few. So
Bill and Fleur's wedding.
No, before
you
that.
say that, but there's they spend so much time on that in the book. It's like, let's get the wedding decorations out. Let's prepare
and
the
also
cake.
We see Harry's 17th birthday.
Oh yes, which they kind of had a joke at in the movie because at one point Hermione's like, "Harry, we forgot about your birthday."
It's basically Molly gives Harry a watch that belonged to one of her brothers. Because yes, she has brothers in the books, Fabian and Gideon Pruitt. But now she gives him a watch because apparently when you turn 17 in the wizarding world, you get a watch. I don't know.
As you do.
As you do.
In
And
the
then,
UK, you just get liver failure.
oh my god. Where is this scene? It's one of my favorite Harry and Ginny moments.
It's his inner monster screaming.
Shut up!
You try and ruin Harry and Hermione for me. I'm ruining that.
It's on page 116, and they go into Ginny's room and they have a conversation, and she's like, I'm gonna give you something to remember me by. And she makes out with him for a moment, and then Ron interrupts. Kind of like in the movie, but it's actually better in the book.
No, he cock blocked his own sister.
Yep, yeah. But then we get to the wedding, and Harry is actually disguised under Polyjuice Potion in the book.
As who?
As a made-up person called Barney Weasley. Fucking
Barney.
Is
So
he a
you've got a purple dinosaur with ginger hair.
Is he a dinosaur? I was like, does he live in our imagination?
Red hair and purple dinosaur skin. You must be a Weasley.
Oh, genius. Genius.
So wait, Barney Weasley, and then no one in the wizarding world has clocked that. Hang on, there is no Barney Weasley.
No, but
Apparently.
this is when we meet Alpheus Doge, or in the movies anyway, but in the books we already know who he is. One of Dumbledore's oldest friends, and we begin to learn about Dumbledore's backstory. And Dumbledore's backstory is delved into more deeply in the book.
Well, I really hope that this book is the one that dives into his past as a homosexual man, because the writer's not just gonna make that up after the fact randomly to try to prove that she's woke. She wouldn't do that. It's definitely pointed out in this book that he's gay, right?
It's hinted at, but it's
Go on,
never...
what's the hint? What's the hint?
Basically that Dumbledore had a deep lingering affection for Grindelwald that could have been more than friendship. And it's what Rita Skeeter says in her book about Dumbledore.
Okay, I'll let her off.
You were fully prepared to be like,
yeah, it doesn't come the fuck out of nowhere, really.
Because it was just random shit she came up with. Like, oh yeah, Dumbledore's gay. Ah yes, they didn't use toilets, they shat themselves. Ah yes, there's a trans character called Sir Rona. Sir Rona. Who let this woman name people? I hope she doesn't have any kids.
I hope that's not
She does have kids. She has I think she has
the trans character is called Sir Rona.
That's fucking crazy. Jesus Christ.
Look it up, Dave. Your turn to look it up.
Is that real? That's
Hogwarts. Hogwarts character. Hogwarts trans characters.
It's Hogwarts Legacy. That's what he's referring to.
But J.K. Rowling herself wrote the character as Sir Rona. It's so
Yeah,
funny.
she
Sharona.
created that character to try to be like, oh, I'm not transphobic. Yes, you are.
There's a trans woman called Sir Rona.
Oh, I thought that was bad. I thought you were making that up. Oh, fucking hell. Is it in Hogwarts Legacy? Sirona Ryan is a transgender witch who owns a...
Even her last name is male.
That's just that's terrible.
Oh, dear.
If we skip ahead here, we get to one of the most important chapters of the entire series, Kreacher's Tale. This is basically when Harry, Ron, and Hermione are at Grimmauld Place. And there's a brief mention of this in the movie where it's basically, where did Kreacher get the locket from, like the real Horcrux? And this is when RAB comes in, Regulus Arcturus Black, Sirius's brother, who was a former Death Eater of Voldemort's, and he was brought up in Order of the Phoenix, I believe, where it said that, he got cold feet and basically tried to leave the Death Eater ranks, and Voldemort killed him, but that's not actually what happened. Basically, what happened, that Voldemort took Kreacher to this cave to put this Horcrux in there. Correct me if I'm wrong. So in this process, Kreacher knew about all of the defensive spells and all the defensive traps going to this Horcrux. So he went to Regulus, and Voldemort left him to die, by the way. But he can fucking disapparate. Kreacher could disapparate. So he's just like, okay, let me go to Regulus and we're going to go destroy it together. And Regulus Kreacher went through these traps, got this Horcrux and gave it to Kreacher and gave his fucking life for Kreacher, telling him to destroy that Horcrux when the Inferi, the dead corpses in the lake, grabbed him and drowned him. And this sets about Kreacher's redemption because he finally begins to treat Harry, Ron, and Hermione with respect, where in the past 2 books, he treated them like fucking shit. And it actually is really well done in this book. I am still pissed that they cut it out of the movie. Just like every other important scene, like Dudley's redemption.
Yes.
With the ministry scene, there's not a whole lot to talk about. It's basically the same as in the movie. They actually did that really accurately and just made Umbridge even more of a cunt. I think like the one difference is that he's not Harry, Ron, and Hermione like help like dozens upon dozens of Muggleborns and they tell them to flee the country, like basically GTFO. Then the forest shit. They go into the woods. Now in the book, it actually goes by quickly, in my opinion. This book is I think 759 pages. The woods section of this book is only 200 of those pages. Yes. I know. I thought you were going to be like, only 200.
I was thinking it. I was waiting until you finished. But the movie, oh my God, it seems to never end.
Yes. In the movie, it's so fucking boring. But in the book, a lot of interesting things actually do happen here. It's more explicitly stated in the book that a taboo has been put on Voldemort's name, like basically a jinx. So if you say his name, the Death Eaters know that you're on the resistance side, and they're going to come kick your ass basically and arrest you. Of course, Ron ditches Harry and Hermione, and then the Godric's Hollow scene.
That's fine because Harry and Hermione are going to have a really sweet, non-sexual, non-romantic dance.
Shut up! I don't want to hear it. There is a scene right before this in the book where a few more characters are introduced. Oh yeah, Tonks's parents are in this book. Nymphadora Tonks's parents, Andromeda Tonks and Ted Tonks.
Sorry, they've all got elaborate first names, and then
Ted. Just Ted.
No. The thing with Andromeda and Ted, it's actually a really sweet backstory with them that is hinted at in the books. Andromeda is the sister of Bellatrix and Narcissa. And unlike those sisters who married to purebloods to keep in line with the pureblood lineage, she married a Muggleborn. She got disowned by her whole fucking family because of how racist they were. So
racism in a J.K. Rowling book?
Yeah, I know. Very shocking, isn't it? So basically, there's a scene before Ron leaves Harry and Hermione and like gets pissed, where they actually come across a few other characters. They come across Ted Tonks, Dean Thomas. Yeah, Dean. Yeah, we forgot he existed. And then
there he is.
Yeah.
Ginny's boyfriend in the Half-Blood Prince.
In the last one. Yeah. And then 3 other characters. A guy from the Ministry named Dirk Cresswell, and then 2 goblins, Gornuk and Griphook. This is when Griphook is introduced in the book properly. The Godric's Hollow scene is more or less the same, except Harry and Hermione are they
just friends.
Shut up. They take Polyjuice Potion in the book.
To become who?
Just random ass
Barney.
They become the
Kermit.
purple dinosaur Barney.
They play Frank Granger and Phil Potter.
Then, of course, the scene where Bathilda Bagshot is revealed to be Nagini in disguise. When Harry is basically delirious after that scene, he gets a vision, and it is the night where his parents died. It's in full explicit detail this time, how they died. The entire scene of them dying is in this book, and it's so well fucking done. It's so well done. I love this scene. It's great. It's so sad. It really
This was also the movie where Harry gets that shard of glass. I'm glad that was
Oh
adapted in the
god,
movie.
fucking go.
I tell you, let's talk about that now. So obviously, for context for the listeners, in the Order of the Phoenix video, we mentioned that they cut out the fact that Harry was given a mirror by Sirius that would have essentially allowed him to communicate with him. And he gets angry and he smashes the mirror because he thinks it doesn't do anything and it just pisses him off. And he keeps a shard of the glass. And throughout the book, he's looking into this shard of glass and he keeps thinking he sees Dumbledore's face. And it's the same in the movie. But in the movie, they cut out the mirror from Order of the Phoenix. So Harry is just randomly staring into a piece of kitchenware for no real reason.
Don't they also have a scene towards the end where he sees a bunch of ghosts, but one of them is someone that we haven't seen before, or like...
Well, it's Lupin, but Lupin mentions the fact that he has a son, but we haven't seen his son.
Yeah, I forgot. Yeah, Teddy's in this book. Teddy Lupin. How lovely. Now let's go ahead and get Dumbledore's backstory out of the way.
He's gay.
Shut up. I will do this. I know it all. So basically, Albus Aberforth and their sister Ariana, their father was convicted and sent to Azkaban because he killed 3 muggles because they attacked Ariana because she showed magic, and when they asked her if she could do it again, she couldn't do it. So they attacked her and they hurt her pretty fucking badly. And this
it's also worth mentioning in Rita Skeeter's expose, she assumes, they were ashamed of Ariana because she was a squib and they hid her, and they learned that obviously that's not the case.
Yeah, that is not the case. But basically Ariana's magic from time to time would basically become completely out of control. And it's implied, and it's kind of more so confirmed in the Fantastic Beasts movies, that she became an Obscurus. Basically where your powers just go completely out of control at points. So they moved to Godric's Hollow. When Ariana was 14, she accidentally killed her mother with her powers. So Albus and Aberforth had to look after her from then on out. And then Gellert Grindelwald comes into the picture, who is Bathilda Bagshot's nephew in the book. And yeah, it's implied that he and Albus kind of had something going on.
Now, in the book, is this Johnny Depp or Mads Mikkelsen?
No. It's young Grindelwald. It's a younger version of him.
Oh, so it's Tom Holland.
No,
it is an actor. It's an actor who's now famous. I'm blanking on his name.
He's in Stranger Things.
Yes, he's in Stranger Things.
And he's also Caius in Twilight. He's in the Twilight movies. He's one of the
you've watched Twilight.
Yes, he's one of the members of the Volturi, the blonde.
Oh god, Jamie Campbell Bower is the actor's name.
Yes, he's a good actor. I can't deny that.
I do like him. He's a good actor. But I mean, in the movie, he's in like one shot. It's like he nicks the wand from the wand shop and then just fucks off out of the window. That's it.
Yeah. But basically, he and Dumbledore were they were going to become the first Voldemort. Basically, they were going to take over the Wizarding world with their motto "For the greater good," and they were going to dominate.
The greater good.
It's the law. We have to say.
Oh my god! But Aberforth basically found out that they were going to dominate Muggles, and they're like, "No, Albus, did you forget Ariana? You can't take Ariana with you and do this. I have to go back to Hogwarts. You can't take her with you. That's bad." And so they all 3 get into a duel. And neither one of them knows who did it, but one of them accidentally kills Ariana while she's trying to stop it.
Why is Dumbledore's brother such a prick in the movie?
Well, in the movie, the implication, like, because they've cut out all this backstory, because in the book, basically Albus seemingly gets over all the trauma in their past, and Aberforth resents the fact that he was able to, but he wasn't. And then obviously Harry tells him, like, no, that's not the case, because in the scene in the cave in Half-Blood Prince, he was crying his eyes out and saying, it was my fault, it was all my fault. And this kind of shakes Aberforth a bit. He's like, I didn't know that. And in the movie, it's just like, I don't like him because he keeps secrets and shit. And
then Harry's like, that's not true. And then Aberforth's reason for Albus being a prick is, in all the time you knew him, he never mentioned that I had a brother. I don't think any of my teachers ever told me about their siblings. I'm just saying, Aberforth, it's not that You're a strange fellow.
In the words of Luke Skywalker, that's not true. That's impossible. Such your feelings, you know it to be true. I'm just kidding. Wrong franchise.
Is it too soon to ask the question about Dobby's death?
It's more emotional in the book. It is.
Yes, because Dobby was a character.
We haven't seen Dobby in like 5 films, and you're like, oh.
Yeah, when I went through this book recently, I did tear up. It was more emotional. I felt because like in most recent read-throughs, I got really attached to Dobby again. I got an emotional attachment to this character properly, and I'm like, I fucking love Dobby. He's adorable. I love him so much. Then he dies, and I'm like, fuck.
Yeah. Whereas in the movie,
he's like, literally like he just pops up in Deathly Hallows.
Harry Potter, except for the last 4 movies, but
yeah,
2 out of 5 isn't that bad.
I think someone just upset J.K. Rowling because every time she wrote a book, she's like, right, so Cedric's dead. All right, Joe. Well, what about the next one? Sirius is dead. All right. Well, Albus dead. Okay, can you just cut Dobby dead?
Yeah.
All right, calm down. Fred, Snape.
Oh, we'll get to Fred soon. We'll get to Fred soon.
Yeah, I was gonna say, don't watch Game of Thrones. You'll want to chuck yourself out a window. The amount of characters that die in that show. Does anyone have anything to say about Malfoy Manor? Just that whole sequence generally.
Well, I have some stuff to say about the lead up to Malfoy Manor. The way they're caught in the book is different. It's not a horrendous fucking chase scene like in the movie. It's simply because of Harry saying Voldemort's name, and Ron's like, bro, it's taboo, you fucking dumbass, and then the Death Eaters appear out of nowhere. Greyback is fucking disgusting in the book. I hate Greyback. Yeah. Please get him the hell away from Hermione.
It's not even Greyback in the movie. It's just some random.
No, Greyback's in the movie.
Oh, he's in. I didn't. See
he is. It's mainly just Scabior though. Yeah, that one random ass Death Eater from the books that we don't know anything about whatsoever, and he has no personality traits to speak of. But anyway,
is he the one that sounds like Del Boy? He's like, "What's she doing for then? Snatch him."
Yeah. And then the vision that Harry has of Grindelwald with Voldemort is so fucking different in the book, because in the movie, Grindelwald actively tells Dumbledore, "Oh, the Elder One lies with him, of course." You know, Dumbledore. In the book, though, he absolutely fucking refuses to give away the location of the Elder Wand, redeeming himself and protecting Dumbledore through and through.
Is it redeeming himself? It's like he's done all sorts of heinous shit. It's
I
like,
know
he was Wizard Hitler, but we'll forgive him because he did Dumbledore a solid.
Well, basically, it prevented Voldemort from finding the Elder Wand for a little while longer, like trying to do something good for the world, because he finally realized the error of his ways and was like, "I was a bit of a cunt. Let me redeem myself."
Yeah. Well, actually, there's 2 things that have changed about Malfoy Manor. So, correct me if I'm wrong. The Bellatrix carving mudblood on Hermione's arm isn't in the book. No. Which is because that, like, obviously it's horrific, but it's one of the more memorable things in the first Deathly Hallows movie, I think.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing is the fate of one man known as Peter Pettigrew.
Oh yes, Peter Pettigrew.
In the movie, it's not made super clear what happens to him. It's like Dobby snaps his fingers, something hits him in the back of the head, and he just goes, "Ow!"
I think he got stunned.
Yeah, which it's not super clear what happened, but maybe Voldemort finally was like, I'm fucking sick of you, and just killed him off screen or something. But in the book, Peter Pettigrew is super, 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 super duper ultra dead.
Yeah, basically what happens is when he comes down into the cellar, basically, I don't remember what he went down there for, but he's like, "Guys, stay back," and he has his wand. And Harry and Ron try to wrestle the wand out of Peter's hand. His metal hand that he got in Goblet of Fire then goes to start strangling Harry. And through chokes and gasps, he's like, "I saved your life! You owe me, Peter!" And then for a moment, just a split second, Peter hesitates. But then that metal hand just turns around and starts strangling him. And Harry and Ron try to pull it away from him, but no, he basically strangles himself to death in the book.
Yeah. Well, it's implied that sort of when Voldemort made the
Yeah.
hand for him, it's like, because he makes it and he says, "Don't you dare fail me again." And then he's like, "Right, fuck you."
That's true. That is true.
But other than that, the Malfoy Manor, I think, and I'm interested what you guys think about this. I think it's interesting that they decided to end the first half of the adaptation at Malfoy Manor.
Yeah. Well, what's even more interesting is that the original script for this movie was actually supposed to end before they got to Malfoy Manor.
Oh, was it supposed to be like a big clip, like dun dun dun?
Yeah.
What
it was
happens to
supposed
Harry
be-
next time? Tune in next week.
Yeah, it was supposed to be a big fucking cliffhanger with Bellatrix realizing, oh, they might have Harry Potter, and then boom, wait 8 months for part 2.
Which
I prefer it with the way the movie did it, though.
Yeah. I mean, because the moment after Malfoy Manor, where they're chilling out at Bill and Fleur's place, that's like the last breather you get, and then the rest of the book is just like smashy, smashy, boom, boom, explosions.
So we've spoke about this privately, and the reason I said earlier that the 2 parts work for part 2 and not part 1 is because they've split it in 2. Part 2 is essentially a 2.5 hour action scene.
Very much.
And for someone who's on the spectrum, it caters to my ADHD. And I was messaging our group chat, hyperventilating, because it's just, I was like, oh my God, stuff's blowing up. It's just boomy, boomy, zap, zap. And it's just, I think
It's basically how Rob felt about Infinity War.
from the amazing scene where Harry sneaks, I know I'm jumping ahead, but when Harry sneaks into Hogwarts and has that amazing scene with Snape, how dare you stand there where he stood, that moment all the way until Voldemort's dead is just, it's flawless filmmaking. It's just non-stop action.
Yeah, I agree. I do agree.
Yeah.
No,
I mean, before we jump to the break into Hogwarts, shall we talk about the Gringotts heist?
yes. So basically, we're
I
now
forgot about that.
we're now in Deathly Hallows Part 2.
Yeah.
So basically, they go to Gringotts. It's basically the same in the book, but with one difference. The dragon doesn't really kill any of the goblins in the book. It just
Yes.
it just pops out.
An innocent goblin dies.
Just for no reason.
so
And their
basically,
response is just like, that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
It's like, you just let a guy to his death.
Basically another version of them just like making it more over the top in the movies.
Can we just point out Gringotts really bad security, because the reason they're able to get through is because of a simple spell that a 17-year-old Hogwarts student can do to trick the goblins.
Yeah.
And then they got a dragon, and they put bells that stop the dragon directly next to the dragon.
Yeah. Which is because in the book, they get the bells from the front desk, which makes more sense.
Yeah.
Of course you wouldn't keep the bells that can stun the dragon.
I think
next
someone
to the
didn't.
dragon.
I think someone didn't read it properly. So they're like, "Hey Gary, how do they stop the dragon? Oh, they ring some bells. Oh, where do they get the bells? Oh, that was just next to him. Oh, all right, I'll write that down." And
and there's only like one other tiny difference. Like there's actually a Death Eater that is with them in this scene for some of it, at least before they go down into the into the pits of fucking Gringotts. So
yeah, I mean, there's also the fact that they changed Grip Hook slightly in the movie, where in the book the reason that he backstabs them and runs away was because he was convinced that they wouldn't give him back the sword as they promised, which is true. Like Harry fully intended on not giving him back the sword, but Grip Hook. Whereas in the movie, he just kind of
Harry's a bit of a dick.
Yeah. Whereas in the movie, he just kind of decides like, right, fuck you, I've got the sword. Bye.
Yeah.
Like, hey,
And
bye.
in the movie, in the book, it's not really explicitly stated what happened to Grip Hook after the Gringotts heist, but in the movie, it confirms Grip Hook was fucking killed by Voldemort.
Yeah.
So that's fun. Then of course, Aberforth and Harry, their conversation.
Yeah, which we've
It's
talked about.
basically it's more or less the same.
Mm.
More or less the same. And then Neville. I love Neville in this book and in this movie. Neville's great. His character arc comes full circle. It's one of the best character arcs in the entire franchise. Now,
Yeah, he's reserved because he's annoyed about something that happens at the end. But
yeah, I'll save it for then because I there's a lot I change about the ending and
okay.
wait till we get to Hogwarts.
Okay.
yeah. Well, I mean,
So-
the next scene is them just at Hogwarts. It's the break into Hogwarts with, like, the scene with
Which
him in Snape.
I'm sorry, I love the scene where they're going through this tunnel and they're like, "Shh, we've got to sneak Harry in, right? Shh, shh, top secret, shh." And then they get inside and everyone's like, "Ah!"
Granted, they're in the room of requirement. People that are outside of the room of requirement can't hear them.
Well, people found it before, right?
That was because people told them about it.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, that's because people told them about it. No, but basically, it's more or less the same, the room of requirement scene, except this is when the movie deviates. So then Luna takes Harry to the Ravenclaw common room to see if they can find the diadem. And then the Caro siblings show up. Harry and Luna stun, I think it's Electo Caro. And then Amicus comes in with McGonagall. And they have an argument back and forth. And Amicus is like, "Oh, Voldemort told me that Potter was going to be in Ravenclaw Tower or in the Ravenclaw common room." And McGonagall's like, "Why the fuck would he be in the Ravenclaw common room? Potter belongs in my house." Amicus spits in McGonagall's face. Harry rips off the invisibility cloak and says, "You shouldn't have done that," and uses the Cruciatus curse on Amicus Caro.
Yeah. I mean, full disclosure, I didn't get a chance to fully reread the book before we did these calls of this last one.
Yeah.
The bit with Snape in the Great Hall, that's not in the book. I might be remembering
Yeah.
Such a good scene.
It's not in the book, and it's more anticlimactic in the book. Or basically, like, McGonagall and Harry and Luna, they just happen to come across Snape in the fucking hallway, and they're under the invisibility cloak, but McGonagall's not. Snape's like, "Oh, I wonder if you've seen Potter around," and then they just start battling it out of fucking nowhere, and then just Snape escapes.
I have a very, very random question, and I know I because this is about 5 books after the fact, but I think it's Azkaban. How come Dumbledore can see him when he's under the invisibility cloak? Do the books explain? Yeah, they're in Hagrid's hut when they're hiding from the guys about to execute. Oh, no, when is it Chamber of Secrets? Oh, you are right. It's Richard Harris, yeah. And yeah, he's about to leave and he says something like, "Those get help when they ask for it," or something, and then he looks directly at them with a smirk. Is it ever explained how Dumbledore can do that?
I think he just knew that they would have probably come to Hagrid for help or something. I don't know.
That sounds like a pulling the excuse out of your ass trick.
Okay, shut up. Anyway, back to Deathly Hallows. So after that scene, it's basically nonstop. And the Weasleys show up with the rest of the Order of the Phoenix, and we get Percy's redemption. Where he basically...
Oh, yeah, Percy. Remember Percy?
Remember Percy Weasley. He was a character.
So when does Charlie show up?
I think he actually is in this book, but
with Barney.
Charlie is in the book. He just doesn't get a lot to do, unfortunately.
Charlie and Barney sounds like a really bad sitcom.
Oh
Justice
it's Charlie and Barney.
Tune in next week to see what happens on the next episode of Charlie and Barney. No, but we get Percy's redemption, and he admits to being a right old cunt, and he makes amends with his family.
Yeah.
So,
which again, in the movie, like, the actor who plays Charlie is in multiple scenes in the background. He's just there. Which is just like
an extra.
It's just like, I feel like they wanted to acknowledge it, but maybe they thought they didn't have time. Like, if Percy just came out like, "Hello, everyone. Remember how I left you all in Order of the Phoenix, even though we didn't see it on screen? Yes, well, I've redeemed myself now."
Why?
I don't think that would have worked.
why is Cho still in Hogwarts when she's a year above Harry?
Yeah, that makes no
That's
fucking
true. Yeah.
sense. Now,
Is that in the book as well?
in the book, she comes to Hogwarts later to help fight. But in the movie, she's just still attending Hogwarts for no fucking reason. And I'm like, why?
She's dumb. She's dumb. She got held back a year.
So basically, it kind of plays out similar to the movie. Harry talks to the Grey Lady, Helena Ravenclaw, basically. She gets more of a backstory, because of course she does. Basically, the reason
everyone who speaks gets a backstory.
Yeah, apparently,
Harry, let me tell you how I bought my shoes.
So what happens in the book? Like the Grey Lady, it's more a brief backstory. She's the person. She's the reason that the diadem became the lost diadem, because she hid it in a forest in Albania, and it's revealed that in the past, before their deaths, the Bloody Baron, Slytherin's ghost, was in love with Helena Ravenclaw when they were alive, and basically she rejected his advances, and we had a Romeo and Juliet thing. He killed her. He felt remorse. He killed himself. So that's, we had a Romeo and Juliet thing happen in Harry Potter, which I did not see coming at all.
Yeah. So there's a great, the scene that they have in the film is so well done, because obviously Harry wants it. She thinks that he might be another Tom Riddle. Is that all in the book as well? Or did the movie improve it?
I think the movie improved it, if I remember correctly. I'm pretty sure. But then we get the Room of Requirement scene, and both Crabbe and Goyle are actually in the book. It's not out of
is Crabbe black in the book?
No, it's just Crabbe and Goyle, how they were written.
With my boy Draco.
Yeah, do you know what? Let's talk about the fucking owl. Let's get out of the way.
Right. So I think because the next bit is basically the whole third act. So there's a few things I kind of want to talk about that are all scattered. So if we go point by point. But before we get to Draco, I want to talk about Snape, because obviously Snape gets eaten by a snake. And I think it's really well handled, and the flashback. The thing is, the flashback scene in the film takes up about 5 minutes of runtime. It's a long flashback, but I don't care. I think it's an excellent flashback. It's a great reveal. I think I've been told in the books it's more predictable.
Snape's redemption.
Yeah, the twist.
Not really. No. I think because Snape is so monstrous, he's so much more monstrous than he is in the films. It's sort of like it's hard to see him as a good person.
Because in the movies, when you get the twist in the movie, I can still like him, but I've heard that in the book he's basically Hitler, so you can't really like him.
And speaking of his affection for Lily, in the book, he comes off as a stalker creep like Tobey Maguire's Peter in the first Spider-Man. He's more like that. He's like stalking Lily. He's trying to tell her what she will and won't do and all that shit. Whereas in the movie, it came across like Snape had genuine affection for Lily and was truly in love with her, and it felt more real.
Yeah. After all this time.
Always.
There's no hesitation there. Yeah, you're my kind of people.
On that topic, there's it's a tiny change, but it says a lot about how they treated Snape in the books versus the movies. So in the scene where Dumbledore reveals that Harry is a Horcrux, and
yes,
we'll
get into that. Hold on.
And there's a bit where Snape gets angry with Dumbledore, and he says, like, you've been keeping him alive so he can die at the proper moment. You've been raising him like a pig for slaughter. And so in the movie, Dumbledore says, "Don't tell me now you've grown to care for the boy." Snape doesn't say anything, and he casts the Doe Patronus, which makes Dumbledore go, "Oh my God, you did this all for her. This has all been for Lily," because he was truly in love with her. And over time, he grew to care for Harry as well.
Yeah, whereas in the book, page 687, "But this is touching, Severus," said Dumbledore seriously. "Have you grown to care for the boy after all?" "For him?" shouted Snape. "Expecto Patronum."
Yeah, so like the implication is that Snape actually never gave a shit about Harry. and that he actually was only doing this in memory of Lily.
Yeah.
People think that this woman knows how to write characters. I don't understand. But
Yeah.
Dumbledore, at least movie Dumbledore, comes across as a colossal douchebag. Because the way he delivers the line as well, you raise him like a pig for slaughter. Dumbledore's like, you actually care about the little shit? Like, he's so cold.
That's not what's the implication.
I
see it more. I mean, it's really more like it's like you've spent so many years hating this little shit, but now when I tell you like he has to die to save the world,
Yeah,
now you're going up in arms. Like it's not like a
that's
like,
what
you
I
actually
thought.
care about him. It's more just like a.
It's also, I don't know, the way he says it as well. It's you raised him like a pig for slaughter. Dumbledore just doesn't even react or emote or show any remorse or anything. He's just like, yeah.
Yeah. There's also an extra bit in The Prince's Tale where it's implied, it's explicitly stated in the book that Snape is actually the reason that George basically got his ear cut off in the Battle of the Seven Potters. But in The Prince's Tale, it was the Sectum Sempra spell. He was aiming it towards a Death Eater that was about to kill Lupin, but he missed and accidentally hit George. So there's that.
Like there's little moments like where you see a flashback where one of the Death Eaters says mudblood and Snape says don't use that word.
Yeah.
So there are like hints that he's
maybe slightly improved, but he's still a piece of shit and I hate him. So
yeah. Well, it's like fundamentally, I don't know whether you guys want to talk about this. Is the like, should Snape have been redeemed, or was Snape worthy of redemption? Argument.
In the movies, yes.
I think he did redeem.
In the
it was all for the greater good.
The greater good.
Shut it!
Anyway,
in the movies, I do think Snape deserved that redemption because he's nowhere near as bad as he is in the books. In the books, absolutely fucking not.
Yeah, because like Snape, fundamentally, like yes, he ultimately was on the good side, but he never really was a good person. And like he ended up
an anti-hero.
Yeah, he ended up dying for his cause, but like I don't think that was really his plan. Like I think that Snape fully planned on going back to being a terrible teacher after surviving the war.
This is like Dave, you'll understand. This is a character comparison. A character that's on the good side but is a terrible person. Joel Miller from The Last of Us.
Oh yeah, that's fair.
He's like Joel, but Joel is honestly a better person than Snape. But
like Spike. You see, he started in Buffy the Vampire Slayer season 2.
No. But it's also like I mean, I know that Rob and I have yapped about this for years, but I think that like redemption stories are inherently a strange idea because it's like more often than not, the character has done so much heinous shit that nothing they could do would really redeem. Like you think, and it's always dying is the way they redeem themselves. It's like Darth Vader in Star Wars, Snape. I'm blanking on other examples at the minute, but
here's an example.
Doesn't die, but Spike in Buffy, for example, that's another one.
He does die.
Here's an example. Here's an example. Serena from The Handmaid's Tale.
Okay.
Yeah, no, like they have tried so many fucking times. Even in this final season, they have been trying to redeem Serena. I'm like, it's not gonna fucking work. Stop trying to redeem her.
Since we're talking about redemption arcs.
Oh, here we fucking go.
Right, let's go.
Can I make one point first, very quickly? Because I think redemption arcs can work when it's not so much a very obviously bad person suddenly becomes good. It's like where a character who everyone thought was bad actually turned out to be a victim of circumstance and then through their actions becomes a better person. I think that because you have like Zuko in Avatar The Last Airbender or Jaime Lannister in Game of Thrones before the final season ruined him anyway. But
well, that being said, the latter example that you just gave is Draco Malfoy. So bear in mind that Draco is a literal child. Yes. He is raised by a very, very racist and abusive man. Therefore, he's taught racist and abusive things, which is why he's such a colossal dickhead for the first 5 movies /books. And I think I would have written it differently. I wouldn't have had him be so horrific, but it's not his fault. He's been manipulated and coerced by his father. So again, we've already gone over the changes I would have done in 4, 5, and 6. But when you get to this one, he's 17. He's now getting his own identity. There's a great scene with him and Harry where he doesn't kill him. Harry even saves him. The way that I would have done it, and we'll go over the other changes in a bit, but I would have had that scene stay the same. Draco then joins in the big battle, and I would have had him kill Nagini, not Neville. And I get why they had Neville do it, but the change, I'll get onto what I would have had Neville do instead. But I think Draco killing Nagini would have kind of confirmed his redemption, and it would have been a much more impactful climax, personally.
I think we'll have to talk more about it when we get into the climax as a whole, and I think we will do. But just to quickly touch on things with Draco, because there's a slight change. Because in the movie, when he confronts Harry in the room of requirement, he's still kind of the one in control, and Goyle eggs him on a little bit and just like, "Come on, mate, just kill him." In the book, it's basically an inverse of what's happened, where Crabbe and Goyle are dragging Malfoy around and trying to get him to do dark things when he really doesn't want to anymore. And it's kind of it's a very kind of a sad moment, because it's like this guy who was kind of the school bully is now taking orders from his former lackeys, who now think he's a massive waste of space. So I think that could have played into his redemption if they'd leaned into it more, and I would have liked to see them go on that more. But seeing as we're talking about the climax as a whole,
before we get to the climax, I have to talk about one thing that I will never forgive Deathly Hallows Part 2 for. Why the fuck did they cut out Fred's death? Why?
Oh yeah, because you see
his
it
body.
you see it like for a split second. There's a shot of him being hit with a spell.
So rant time. Why the fuck did they cut out Fred's death? It's the saddest death of the entire series, and you cut it out in the movie? Are you serious? Why? It is so powerful in the fucking book, because
that wasn't Fred, that was George. Honestly, Adalynn, you call yourself a fan.
I was gonna say, I don't think the movie even specified which of them died. It was just like, oh yeah, one of them's dead.
No, Neville mentions it in passing during his big speech.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah. So basically, this is right after Fred and Percy have made amends, and Percy actually makes a joke regarding the pious thick nest, the Minister of Magic, and he's like, "Did I mention I'm resigning?" And he's like, "You actually are joking, Percy. I don't think I've heard you joke since you were." And the room that they're in, like, it basically explodes. Harry, Ron, and Hermione and Percy are there. And when Harry finally comes to, he hears Percy like screaming and shouting, no, Fred. And the chapter ends with, and Percy was shaking his brother, and Ron was kneeling beside them, and Fred's eyes stared without seeing, the ghost of his last laugh still etched upon his face. That is such a haunting way to kill a character. And Percy and Ron are so filled with rage that they want to kill Death Eaters. Ron doesn't even want to fucking focus on his task anymore about killing destroying the Horcruxes with Harry. He wants to kill Death Eaters, and it's such a great moment in the fucking book, and they cut it out.
And in the movie, Ron doesn't give a shit.
Yes. Why?
He walks in holding Hermione. He walks in holding Hermione's hand, and he's like, "I'm dating Emma Watson. Who gives a shit? Fuck him."
Oh my god. Yeah.
I think there is one shot of him like crying over Fred's body, but it's like a really blink and you'll miss it.
Because we're talking about Fred, I'm going to now ask a question, and Adelynn's going to hate this question. And it's going to tie into the next bit that I want to talk about. So I think when you've got a battle this big, I think you need a big death, a big shocking death. And the movies don't really deliver enough for Fred to kind of fit that criteria, in my opinion. So I feel like they needed a... Would you have had anyone bigger die? And if so, who? Because I'm going to throw the name in the hat that's going to upset Adalynn, and I'll say Neville.
Neville should have died. I
I
think
would
this-
have killed off Neville because I think when you kill off a main character like that, no one's
No.
going to see it coming, and it will be oh shit, anyone can die.
Yeah. Well,
No.
it would have
No.
been unsatisfying, I think.
No.
Okay, I'll let Adalynn go first.
I
but-
think Neville's arc needed to be done. It needed to be done and it needed to be complete. Here is who I would have killed. And she was actually originally going to kill him in Deathly Hallows. Ron.
That's mean. He finally kisses Hermione, and then he gets killed. The poor guy.
Really? What if Ron died? I'm not saying absolutely that I would have killed him in the final book, but what if? Just
How would you have done it? Voldemort kill him?
that I'm not sure.
Ginny.
Killed
No.
Ginny.
Kill off Ginny.
That would have
No.
been cruel.
No.
No.
That would have been way too fucking cruel.
Imagine
Who
just
knows?
Harry dies. Just Harry dies, and then the credits roll.
Just like,
No,
well, I
like,
guess we're done here.
maybe like Ron dies like trying to protect Harry or Hermione or even Ginny or something like that. Like a big sacrifice.
So for the record, I'd like to clarify with Neville, I do agree that his arc is handled well. I would have swapped it. I wouldn't have had him kill Nagini. It makes no sense for Molly to have killed Bellatrix. That should have been Neville to avenge his
I understand
parents.
that.
That's-
I do love the scene with Molly killing Bellatrix, but I do agree.
Yeah, like, she could have killed any other death. I would have had I don't know, kill another Death Eater or something. But
like, why not just have a different death? Because I think in the book they specify that Bellatrix kills Fred. So just have another Death Eater kill Fred. I know, Ted the Death Eater. I don't know.
Yeah.
Then
Well, no, in the book, I think Augustus Rookwood is who kills Fred because they yell Rookwood.
Oh,
but yeah, I would have had Neville kill Bellatrix, and then I don't know how I'd have Neville die personally, but then yeah, Draco kill Nagini.
Yeah. Although I fucking love this line that Neville says on page 731. Basically, when Voldemort's like, "Oh, we need you in the Death Eater ranks," like he says, "You show spirit and bravery, and you come of noble stock. You will make a very valuable Death Eater. We need your kind, Neville Longbottom. I'll join you when hell freezes over," said Neville. "Dumbledore's army." That's a great fucking line, and that really proves that he's become a badass.
So I have a question. In the book, when Harry goes to confront Voldemort on his own, does the book explain why the fuck Hagrid's there? Because the movie doesn't.
Yes, they do.
Hagrid's like, Harry, what are you doing here? And I'm like, what are you doing here?
He's carried away by Acromantula, basically.
Which I do like, Hagrid brought Harry into the wizarding world, so it's symbolic that he carries him at the end. What I love is that there's a scene where Draco's mum whispers to Harry, "Is he alive?" And Harry says yes. And I'm like, what would have happened if Draco was dead? No, it's not Harry's fault. Harry's like, no. And she's like, "He's over here, he's alive." come and kill him, Tom.
Yeah. No, they add the detail of when Narcissus like he's dead, like Voldemort like basically tries to prove that Harry's dead. He uses the Cruciatus curse on Harry, but it doesn't work. But you have the visual in your head that Rowling puts in there of Harry being lifted into the fucking air, just flailed around like it's fucking Scary Movie.
Well, speaking of imagery,
What?
there's a scene where Harry goes to wizard heaven and sees Dumbledore. Now there's a very big difference between the movie version and the book version, isn't there? Adalynn, would you like to tell the audience what the difference is? What is it in the book?
When he wakes up in limbo, basically, he's butt-ass naked. He's not clothed. The only reason he gets clothes is that he wishes to have clothes on.
So Harry...
He's 17!
So Harry is a minor, and he wakes up naked in front of his headmaster.
I would make a joke, but I'm not going to. Yeah. I'm going to refrain from doing it.
Yeah,
I'm just asking, is that what happens? Yes or no?
Yeah.
He's naked in front of his teacher.
Pretty much.
And he's a minor.
Sorry, I'm just thinking of that Frankie Boyle bit where he pretends to be like a guy in a courtroom where he's like, "Show us where Dumbledore touched you," said the judge. "Show us on the door."
Why I want to know the thought process.
I don't know why she thought it was a good idea. I don't know.
Speaking of funny imagery, there's just one image from the book that's always made me laugh. So obviously, at this point, Voldemort realizes Nagini is his last Horcrux, and he doesn't want to risk her. So instead, he keeps Nagini elevated in the air in a giant cocoon of energy. So you've just got this snake floating around in a big bubble of energy.
Couldn't he just put her in the deepest ocean of Australia or something? Why does he carry around with him?
I mean, that opens questions with the concept of Horcruxes in general, because you could be like, well, what if Dumbledore turned like a pebble and then chucked it down the bottom of a well? Like, no one would. He would have.
Voldemort's not that bright.
Yeah. I mean, I know they explained that because he's got a massive ego. He wanted the Horcruxes to be like symbolic to his past and like the wizarding world. But like, so essentially, if Voldemort hadn't been a massive prima donna, he would have lived forever.
There's an interesting theory that I'm going to throw this out here, that technically the curse or that like Voldemort and Harry, one of them has to kill the other person. They can only die at the other's hand, basically. Harry kills Voldemort. So is Harry now immortal? Because nothing can kill him and Voldemort's dead.
I would need to put some thought.
So if he gets hit by a bus, is he okay?
I think that's
I don't think it works that way.
Harry is now immortal. By
it doesn't
their own
work that way, Rob.
I really like the fight between Harry and Voldemort in the movie. I think it's really well handled. But apparently in the book, it's more intense. Isn't it in front of everyone? Everyone's watching.
It's in front of everyone, which always weirded me out in the movie that no one was around to see Voldemort die. Like, Harry kills Voldemort. He's like, where is everyone?
Yeah.
Yeah. This could be a controversial opinion with some Harry Potter fans, but I prefer the way Voldemort dies in the book.
Well, I was going to say, because in the...
I prefer it in some ways and not in others.
Because in the movie... Because in the book, his body is there, right?
Yes,
yeah, he dies a normal human death.
Whereas, like, because in the movies...
It's like... It's like Thanos snapped his fingers.
Yeah, because in the movies, Voldemort's died... You can't see it. I'm doing quote marks. He's died a few times, and then in the last one, he dissipates into the air. So there's no actual confirmation that he's dead, and he can probably come back.
Yeah,
they've got no reason to assume he's dead.
And the one thing I kind of have an issue with Voldemort's death in the book is not even his death; it's the build up to it. It's just 4 pages of exposition.
Yeah. So when you think
Harry just becomes the exposition dump for like 5 fucking minutes, and I'm like, no one cares. We already know this, Harry.
So it's like, imagine. So if you remember the movie, there's that little exchange they have before Harry throws them both off the tower.
Oh, like, so good.
What if the one never belonged to Snape? Blah 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 blah. Incidentally, we'll get back to that.
It's only like 10 seconds in the movie.
Yeah, and then there's the scene after the fact where Harry tells Ron and Hermione about how he has the Elder Wand, and he explains the whole thing about how possessing people's wand. In the book, all of that is exchanged between Harry and Voldemort as they're like circling each other while everyone stands around them like they're kids watching 2 people fight on the playground.
Fight!
Yeah. It's like a fucking western with 2 cowboys about to fucking duel with guns. Yeah. It's like that, and I'm like, bro.
By the way, I love how in the movie, when everyone thinks Harry's dead, Neville just does not give a shit. He's like, people die every day. Cheers, mate.
Yes.
I tell you what, it's like we've ragged on Ginny in the movies quite a bit, but the scene where Voldemort says Harry Potter is dead, and Ginny screams like, "Oh no!" She showed more emotion in that one line than she did in all the prior movies.
Yeah, that's true.
What's with Voldemort's laugh in that?
Wait. My reason why I prefer Voldemort's death in the book, I prefer that he dies a human fucking death to prove that he did not succeed in becoming immortal and was basically a pussy ass bitch who did not accomplish his goals. I prefer that. Whereas in the movie, he got dusted away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, now the other one, aka the biggest plot hole in the entire series.
Yes. So, I mean, I don't know what your reason for hating it is, but I'll talk about what I think. So, obviously, in the movie and in the book, it's explained that so Voldemort assumes that Snape has ownership of the Elder Wand because he's the one who killed Dumbledore. But if you remember back to Half-Blood Prince, when Draco arrives at the astronomy tower, he does the Expelliarmus and disarms Dumbledore, which means that he now has ownership of Dumbledore's wand. And then in the scene at Malfoy Manor, where Harry wrenches Draco's wand out of his hand, that means that Draco now has lost ownership and it now belongs to Harry. Which is already opens like, one, we've seen people disarmed so many times in this story.
I hate this whole. It's like a childish. My one now can't have it back. My finders keepers.
The wand chooses the wizard, Mr. Potter.
Yeah, bullshit, John Hurt. Fuck you.
No, don't say that about John.
Yeah, it's like in the Order of the Phoenix, in when they were training to use Expelliarmus, were they just like losing ownership of their wands every time they cast?
That's a good point. Yeah.
That is true. That is
like,
true.
oh no, I've lost my wand. Sorry, Seamus, can you give it back? Yeah, sure.
Does he break it in the book? As
No,
well?
He
no.
doesn't.
This is the plot hole for me. So he does not break it in the book for some fucking reason. I don't know why. So he places the wand back in Dumbledore's tomb with the reasoning that when Harry dies, the magic in the wand will be null and fucking void. That makes absolutely no sense because it is implied that Harry goes on to become an Auror after the series ends. You are going to be fighting dark wizards. You're going to get disarmed at one point. You get disarmed once. That enemy becomes the master of the Elder Wand. And boom, your plan is fucking...
Good job, Harry. Good job, Harry. You doomed the world.
Dumbass. Fucking dumbass Harry.
It's like,
got to that part and I'm like, bro, Harry, you are not
like,
this...
Greg who robbed the Tesco down the road and disarmed Harry. Like, oh yeah, sorry, Greg, you've now got power over this all-powerful wand that could end the world.
Stupid! I hate it! Why did Rowling think that was a good idea? Did she not think about the 400 plot holes that would come from this? Did she not?
I mean, why care about plot holes now?
Yeah. I mean, it's Rowling.
Like, it's the literal last chapter of the book. I don't think she was that fussed anymore.
So,
yeah.
I want to tell a story about this epilogue because I was there when it was written. Now, I kind of watched this unfold because even though I hadn't read the books, it was everywhere. I don't know how it was like in the States, but it was everywhere in the UK, and all I would hear was negativity. People were like, that ending was shit, and I didn't really know. And my mum was still in the process of reading it, and I was in the room when she got to this epilogue. And so I can't remember what I was doing. I'm probably watching TV or something, but she reads this epilogue and then all of a sudden she angrily launches the book across the room into the wall. It was a fucking stupid ending.
Because the thing is, in the movie, it's done really well.
The makeup wasn't. The makeup wasn't.
Oh no, the makeup looks horrendous.
Yeah.
They're grown-ups.
Yeah, poor Ginny with that shitty fucking bob haircut that makes her look about 50.
No, but no, I actually think that the epilogue was done really well in the movie, like on an emotional standpoint. But then in the book, Albus Severus Potter. The fuck kind of name is Albus Severus
Poor Hagrid. Where's the love for Hagrid? Why isn't his name in the...
Potter?
It's like
Potter?
Albus Severus Potter. You were named after two massive You have a nice day.
Yeah, and now their oldest kid is named James Sirius Potter. That's a good name. I like that. But then their daughter is named Lily Luna Potter.
Yeah, so it reads like a fan fiction, doesn't it?
It is a fan fiction.
With the book, does it cut the same way the movie? So they're on the bridge, he doesn't snap the wand, and then it cuts to however many years later. Is that how it is?
It goes from Dumbledore's office, because that's where that final scene is, and then 19 years later.
So I hate, because it's such a random jump to 19 years later, and I think the way I would have ended after such an epic saga, it would basically be ripping off Lord of the Rings, but I would have people go back like I don't know, Hermione goes back and maybe she sees, she looks through the window. I mean, technically, can't she just give the memories back to her family now? I don't know.
It's implied that she did.
So yeah, you could have everyone basically return back to their lives, and they're trying to adjust, even though everything's gone to shit. Maybe Harry takes over Privet Drive. I don't know, but I'd have them go back after all of this bullshit that they've been through, and try to have a normal life rather than this random skip to 19 years later.
Yeah.
I mean, how would you have ended it instead?
I think that would have been a much better way to end it.
You could even just cut.
characters.
Yeah, no, sorry, I'm interrupting. You go.
Like focusing on the characters and how they're trying to get past the PTSD would have been such a better way to end it.
Yeah, because when you think about it, this is a bunch of people who were forced to fight in a war as like literal children. It's like, and there's no like existing ramifications from that. It's sort of, it seems
Like
very...
even like there's a small scene in Return of the King where they all go to a bar. They're all in a pub and they're just looking around and they're all traumatized, but everyone else is like, hey, having a great time. All you nearly need, you could just do just one scene where Harry, Ron, Hermione, and Hermione's boyfriend Draco Malfoy go to this pub. And they're trying to enjoy themselves and they just can't. Just that smart, it's fine. And then do a slow panning out shot, boom to the credits, and then never make any spin-off movies and never make any sequel plays whatsoever. And that'll be the perfect closure.
But regardless of that, the final line made me cry. It's so fucking good.
Harry woke up under the stairs.
No!
Can you imagine? And then he woke up.
I would have ruined it. So let me read this. The last trace of steam evaporated in the autumn air. The train rounded a corner. Harry's hand was still raised in farewell. He'll be all right, murmured Ginny. As Harry looked at her, he lowered his hand absentmindedly and touched the lightning scar on his forehead. I know he will. The scar had not pained Harry for 19 years. All was well. That is a perfect way to end the book, with a line rather than an epilogue.
So, overall, summarize the book.
This is the second best book.
Oh, interesting.
This is my second favorite.
I don't know if I'd go that far, but I did.
This is a 4.5 out of 5.
Okay. I think there is a fantastic 400-page book inside this 650 pages of butter scraped over too much bread.
It's not 650, it's 759 pages.
Oh, okay. That might be just the UK edition then. Anyway, I think if you trimmed the bit in the middle with all the camping, and then if you tweaked some of the plot holes in the third act, I think this could have had a shot at being the best book. As is, I enjoyed it more than Goblet of Fire. I enjoyed it more than Order of the Phoenix. I probably enjoyed it more than The Prisoner of Azkaban, honestly. Yeah, I would say it's sort of middle smack bang in the middle in terms of my ranking of the whole books.
Yeah.
So speaking of which, we're gonna do a ranking, but I've only read 4. So I'll reel mine off just to get it out the way. I think
let's go from worst to best.
Worst is 4. I'd go 4 and then 1. I liked 1, and then 2, and then Azkaban was my favorite out of the 4.
Okay. Interesting.
All right. Let's go first.
I can go first. So for me, I would say Goblet of Fire is dead last. Then Order of the Phoenix. Then, and people might get on my tits for this, Prisoner of Azkaban. I wasn't huge on that one, if I'm honest. Then Deathly Hallows. Then Philosopher's Stone, Chamber of Secrets, and then Half-Blood Prince at the top. I think Half-Blood Prince is still the best one.
So for me, Goblet of Fire is dead last. Unanimously with all 3 of us. Then is Order of the Phoenix. People are going to get on my tits for this. Philosopher's Stone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Then Prisoner of Azkaban. Then Chamber of Secrets, Deathly Hallows, and Half-Blood Prince.
Okay. So not like a hugely variation in our... I mean, we've all got Goblet of Fire dead last. So
Yeah,
I think
no
that's-
wonder why. It's fucking shit.
But yeah, I think the thing with the Harry Potter books and also the movies as well is you could rank them in more or less any order, and people would just be like, yeah, fair enough. Like everyone kind of has their favorite and least favorite, and can justify why.
Nah, yeah, rereading these books, yeah, they do not hold up for the most part.
Yeah,
at
they
all.
have not aged well. Some are better than others. Some are much worse than others.
Yeah, this reread, I reread all 7 books in their entirety. I know Dave didn't. I did. Yeah.
Well, I listened to the audiobooks. That counts as read.
That does count. Yes, in
Okay.
my opinion, that does count.
I listened to one chapter during a long drive, and I learned about Uncle Vernon's fat fingers
Okay,
locking
shut
kids in sheds.
up. No, but this basically, I had a feeling when I went through this, I'm like, I think Half-Blood Prince is still going to be my favorite, and it ended up still being my favorite. I ended up being correct. So
Yeah, I think it's interesting how it kind of my order ranking kind of shuffled around as we reread them. But
yeah, because Order of the Phoenix was my least favorite for so long. Then I reread Goblet of Fire, and I'm like, let me retract that, because Goblet of Fire used to be one of my favorites of the series until I reread it, and I'm like, yep, nope, worst. It's the worst.
So that has been the review of all 7 books, and they never made anything else in the Harry Potter universe whatsoever. Hope you guys have liked these. Yeah, stay tuned for more movie reviews and some other fun stuff coming this month.
See you guys.
bye.
Also,
Okay.
if you hear my ass dog, oh,
We
He's
hear your
returned!
roost.
He's back. Yeah, just give me 2 seconds, guys. My girlfriend's calling me. One
oh, you're
second.
fine.
Stop talking to your friends about the silly wizards.
Wait. Dave
Keep
has
talk-
a girlfriend?
Keep talking. Just keep talking. I'll.
Okay.
Dave has a girlfriend?
Yeah, it's Sue.
How does he kiss them? How does he kiss Sue?
I think the orbs just bounce off each other. I don't know.
Yes.
There
Do
it goes
we-
again.
Yeah, do you know? Well, I'll edit in the fucking rooster graphic if he keeps going. How about that?
Right, here we go. We're good?
Yes.
Son of a bitch!
Okay, here we go.